If you work on cars, you know the drill. Cleaning is a constant, uphill battle. It's a huge mess, it takes forever, and sometimes you can even damage the very parts you're trying to save. Well, what if I told you there's a way to get a perfect clean with literally zero mess and zero residue? That's what we're diving into today, automotive dry ice blasting.
I mean, have you ever been there spending hours scrubbing an engine bay only to make an even bigger, greasy, watery mess? Or how about that feeling when you're using an abrasive cleaner, just hoping you're not scratching up a delicate surface? If any of that sounds familiar, you already know the pain of old-school cleaning.
Yeah, it really all comes down to those three big frustrations, doesn't it? The mess that you always have to clean up after you clean, the constant risk of doing some real damage, and just the sheer amount of time that gets completely wasted. It's a cycle that costs workshops real money and efficiency. But what if you could just break that cycle for good?
Okay, so let's really dig into the problem here. What are we actually talking about when we say conventional methods? We're talking about the limitations of the tools most shops are still relying on. You know, the usual suspects: pressure washers, sandblasters, chemical degreasers, all that stuff.
Just think about the trade-offs for a second. You grab a pressure washer, and sure, it's clean, but now you've got water in every nook and cranny. That's a recipe for rust and electrical nightmares. Use a sandblaster, but you might end up pitting the metal or destroying a delicate part. See, every one of those old-school methods forces a compromise. You're basically creating a new problem just to solve the first one.
All right, enough doom and gloom about the old way. Let's talk about the solution. This is where something truly revolutionary comes into play: automotive dry ice blasting.
So, how does this magic work? Well, it's actually some pretty cool and surprisingly simple physics. You take tiny pellets of solid carbon dioxide, dry ice, and you shoot them at a surface at high speed. The second they hit, the magic happens. They don't melt, they instantly turn from a solid straight into a gas. It's like a tiny explosion that blasts away all the dirt and grime. That process is called sublimation. And here's the kicker: because the CO2 just turns into a gas, it vanishes. Poof, gone. No water, no sand, no chemicals, nothing left behind.
So that super simple process, that sublimation thing, that's what unlocks all of these incredible, no-compromise benefits. Let's really break down why this is a total game changer for any workshop.
I mean, just look at them head to head. The difference is just night and day. Your traditional methods, they always leave a mess behind. Water, chemicals, sand, you name it. Dry ice? Absolutely nothing. Old methods can scratch, pit, and corrode surfaces. Dry ice is completely gentle and non-abrasive. And that last, soul-crushing step of cleaning up after you just cleaned, yeah, that's just gone, eliminated.
And believe it or not, the advantages go even deeper than that. For starters, the CO2 used is often recycled, so it's a much more eco-friendly option. The total lack of water means there's zero chance of causing rust or corrosion. And that makes it fundamentally safer to use around all the sensitive electronics in modern cars. So you've got a win-win-win situation here. It's faster, it's way safer for the car, and it's even better for the environment.
Okay, so the theory sounds amazing, right? But where does the rubber actually meet the road? Where can you use this stuff? Let's jump into some real-world applications, because the versatility here is where it really blows your mind.
Let's start with the heart of any car, the engine bay. You know this area? It's notoriously a pain to clean, and honestly, kind of risky with the old methods.
I want you to just imagine for a second, stripping away years of baked-on oil and grime from an engine block without using a single drop of water or degreaser. That is a huge game changer. It means you can clean right over sensitive wiring harnesses, sensors, and computer modules with literally zero fear of causing a short circuit. It takes engine detailing from a risky, messy chore to a precise, safe, and frankly, satisfying process.
Okay, so we've cleaned the heart of the car. Now let's move to its skin. And when you're talking bodywork and paint prep, you know that precision is absolutely everything.
And this is where that gentle but powerful nature of dry ice really gets to shine. You can remove old clear coat or paint literally layer by layer, which gives restorers an insane amount of control. It preps the surface perfectly for a new paint job without damaging or pitting the metal underneath, which, as you know, is a huge risk with something like sandblasting.
All right, so it's awesome for the greasy, grimy engine parts and the hard metal body panels. But what about the inside? You know, the delicate stuff. Can that same power really be used on interiors?
Oh, absolutely. Because there's no liquid and no harsh chemicals, it can deep clean upholstery, dashboards, even headliners without leaving anything soaked or smelling like a chemical factory for a week. Can you imagine lifting a stubborn coffee stain out of a car seat with no water involved at all? It cleans deeply while preserving the original color and texture of the material. It's incredible.
And look, this level of precision becomes non-negotiable when the stakes are at their absolute highest. It really comes down to this idea. For vintage and luxury vehicles, precision and care are paramount. Dry ice blasting ensures no damage to irreplaceable parts. For anyone working on a priceless classic, you just can't put a price on that kind of peace of mind.
Okay, so you get the what and you get the why. The big question left is, how? Right? How does a workshop actually get started with this and start seeing these benefits?
Well, the good news is the path forward is actually pretty straightforward. First things first, you got to invest in quality equipment, a machine that's really designed for the kind of detail work we're talking about. Next, you have to get your team properly trained. It's key for safety and for getting those amazing results. And finally, you just need to step back and evaluate your current workflow to see where this tech can save you the most time and make the biggest impact.
So let's wrap this up with a final thought. I just want you to seriously ask yourself, what could your workshop achieve if mess, damage, and wasted hours just weren't part of the equation anymore? Think about the time you'd save, the higher level of quality you could deliver, and maybe even the new kinds of high-end projects you could finally take on. What does that future look like for you and your business?